Welcome everybody to I, the Serpent Tarot, for another pick a card. So today we're looking at a sign or a message you've been waiting for. Now, I'm looking at this very broadly. So when I sort of commune in with Spirit to put the first sort of cards in play for the particular piles, what I was asking about is either or both of the following. So it could be a sign or a message you are very conscious of you've been waiting for. And therefore you may get drawn to a particular pile or a particular image because it aligns with that. And this reading will address that in whole or in part. And I'll talk about why in whole or in part in a minute. The second thing is this could be Spirit saying and your team saying, this is something, a sign you've been waiting for, but it's unconscious. It's sort of the whole point is that now it's meant to come to the surface so that you're aware of it and you can take the information and energy and use it in the best possible way. And therefore, we'll probably talk about that in whole. And the combination of the two is that there may be something that you are waiting on, and what Spirit will be doing is answering that, but also answering some unconscious part of it that's also important for you to know. So it could be any of those three. And as it's a collective reading, it's going to depend very much on who comes to which pile and what piles you choose. And of course, you can always choose more than one pile, and you might sort of think, I consciously feel drawn to pile 1, but I feel like there's an unconscious message for me in pile 3, for instance. So whatever works for you is fine. To help with that, there's a deck that I use often around signs and synchronicities. And so I'm using that, and I shuffled and asked for an energy around the type of sign or message we're talking about. I'll return to this deck later in the reading around other synchronicities to look out for. But at this point, we're using it to try and navigate you to the right message or sign. So if you've been looking for a sign that connects to any of the energies here, then that's pretty much a confirmation that's your pile. But otherwise, as I say, go with your intuition. So pile number 1 has hearts, and the number is 16 if you go by numbers. Pile number 2 is white light. The number is 36. And pile number 3 is seedlings, and the number is 29. So as I say, by all means, go to more than one reading if you want. When you do know what reading or readings that you want to see, the timestamps are in the description box below as always, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you came to the reading with hearts. And what I also have here is some other oracle information to try and get a sense about what is the nature of this sign or message, both consciously or unconsciously. I think there's probably a bit of both for you, because the interesting thing is when I'm looking at the revolving time oracle, which has major arcana and the court cards from the tarot and other oracle decks, oracle cards, this has the devil card and the high priestess. So this feels very much in the world, obvious and known, and this is very much intuitive. So there is something here. There is also a question to ask, and I think I might go to that first and then talk about the rest of this. So the question is for the constellation Hydra, and it says, are you fighting the monster in front of you or inside you? I don't know if that's ever going to focus enough to see that clearly, but that's what that question says. And it's interesting, the Hydra itself, I mean, this connects to Hydra as a constellation, but the Hydra itself is something where every time you chop off its head, another one grows back. So there's something here, I think, and it's in the realm of the heart because we've got the hearts. So it could be about love or romance, but it could also be about something that's very passionate and important to you. It could be about how you deal with emotional issues. It could be that you've had a broken heart potentially and you're healing from that. But there's a pattern here, I think. And I think the message or the sign for you is that if you look at this, the girl is pointing towards a beautiful cloud heart starting to form as opposed to the broken heart. So I think there's a moving away from patterns that broke your heart, whether that, as I say, is around love or around career, vocation, creativity. It doesn't really matter. But the issue is how you break that pattern. And I think that the Hydra question is a really key part of that. It's understanding where the pattern is something around you and around what you have kind of almost got, not necessarily obsessed with, but kind of bound up in some way, and where your intuition can release you. So what is within you can either bind you or release you. And it can either be a monster that keeps recurring, or it could be something that's going towards the heart. So this is a sign that you're ready to break through from a pattern, I would say. Now, in this particular deck with the Devil card, it does have a bit of a leaning towards relationships. So I think many of you, it could be about relationship patterns, but it doesn't always have to be love. It could be other things. It could be where material aspects, the powers of the world or whatever, have caught you up and worked against your intuition. That's where you've ended up in these recurring patterns, and they keep happening. If they've been happening to wake you up. That's what I think is going on here, to make you realise that this is fully within your control. You're very psychic, you're very, very actually magical with both of those cards, but it's all within you. And as I say, you can create a monster or you can slay the monster, and finally slay the monster. So for some of you too, I'm getting, this is very specific, but for some of you, this may be a passion that you have around a cause, and it's very much in the material world, like you're fighting monsters. And in one form or another, this could be around social justice in some way. And again, it's saying you need to focus more on what your message is and your spiritual path, and less on what is actually going on. It makes me think of that, I think it's Nietzschean quote about, if you look too long into the abyss, it looks back into you. So there's something in this kind of energy for you to think about. But as I say, it could be around romance, it could be around any type of relationship, anything that matters to your heart. But I think the message very clearly is there's a no here. Like the kind of just looking at it on a material level is not the way to do it. It's grounded, but it doesn't let you lift off. Look at the heart, it's in the air. There's a different way of thinking about things, a different way of seeing things, and going towards the ephemeral rather than necessarily the grounded area or the powers of the world. So there's a big energy around that for you. And if you move towards your intuition, that's the yes. This is more your emotion, your heart. You don't have to worry about the timing. Maybe one of the things that has kept you stuck in these sort of patterns is you weren't really sure when you would get the chance to slay the Hydra, when you would get the chance to actually move forward towards a better pattern. But this is saying you don't even have to worry about that. In fact, worrying about the timing is going to just keep you trapped in the kind of 3D side of this. You can do everything in the kind of 5D. You can work out things spiritually because you're very strong there. And that is a much more pure way of doing it. And then it'll come into the world. So this is your sign that you're heading towards something better. But there is a question about to what degree do you understand? And this, I don't say this lightly because I don't think everybody does this or everybody has this power. I think you actually have a magical ability here. You're not really seeing or knowing how much you're creating the Hydra. Not because you mean to, but because you actually have that magical power. So it's like elevating your perspective, elevating your heart. And it's really interesting too, actually, because she's pointing to the left, okay? Now, if you think about your brain, I know this will sound like a weird thing, but it just came to me. Your left hemisphere, to the left, if you point to the left, it's actually the left-hand side of your body actually connects to the right-hand side, which is your intuition. And this is sitting over on the right-hand side. So it's like there's something about the way you think as well as the way that you actually sort of intuit things. It's a combination of your thought processes and your intuition as opposed to kind of what's in the material world, because it's all about connecting to that side of you. And that way you're not recreating the thing here. You're actually moving beyond it. So very interesting. So let's get tarot and see a little bit more about the actual final message. Then we're going to look at what's clear to you at the moment and then what's going to become clearer as time goes on. So just a little bit more about what this message is all about. The Star, the Page of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, the Four of Swords, the High Priestess. Wow, you guys, you're very, very psychic, very tuned in. And this is almost a progression we're seeing from the sort of like the left to the right, but it's starting with your dream. So this is saying there's a dream here. And the dream is the right dream. So if you've had been fighting battles all the time about a dream, this is saying don't change the dream. That's not the issue. You're on the right path. It's the focus. It's saying you've done the work materially. But it's also saying that your thoughts and your dreams can create the material world in some way. So you've got to make the energy dynamic rather than stuck. Actually, that's very important. The temptation card, the devil card, in many ways is something being caught, something being bound up in some way. So it's not being bound up just in the material. You've done the work you need to do there. And you also have the power through your intuition to shift that as necessary. It's time to move on something. It's time to take action. You can certainly go within. The light is within, and going on your intuition, that should be your navigating for the star here, but you're actually meant to act in some way. You're ready. You're ready to do the battle. You're ready to take your dream forward. You're ready to create a better pattern. And this is meant to be your barometer going forward. So I think it's a very strong, yes, go for it. This is changing, but it's about a pattern you're breaking. And this suggests to me that it's very positive. It's a positive pattern, starting to understand, to follow your own intuition. And as I said, your mind as well, but your mind connected to your heart, if that makes sense. So what is clear to you right now about this sign? What will be clear right in this moment? Ace of Wands, Five of Wands, the Hierophant, the Four of Wands. Okay, all right. So, it depends on what this is about. So I'll talk very generally, and then I'll talk about it if it's about romance or something like that. Generally, if this is about some sort of like cause or some sort of creative dream or something like that, you know that you have the inspiration now. So even if things have not worked out before, it's not really in any sense dulling your creative or inspirational energy. You also know that there are some battles, but you've kind of worked out they're not major. So this is not a battle with a hydra. This is the only hydra is the one within you. It's like you understanding your power and then using it for you rather than continually sort of slaying and being in a pattern. So you get that there is action necessary. You get there might be some pushback, but at the end of the day, you're more than ready for that. You've got the learning, you've got the knowledge, you understand the industry in whatever it might be, and you will be able to bring about a good outcome. So you can see it, you can taste it almost. And the sign is here to say, yes, that's right. Pay attention to your intuition. This is a dream you are meant to be doing. It's meant to happen. And you've got everything in play that you need. Now, if this is about romance, then this could be a new love coming in, and you might at first think, oh my goodness, is it just going to be the same pattern? But I don't think it is. Like, this is a pretty strong sign. It's not that. Those two together is like sort of marriage or commitment, all of that kind of thing. So there's a different energy coming in, and any battle around it is much lesser because it's like you've had the aha moment of saying, I'm not going to be worried about the material side of this. I'm going to go with my intuition. I'm going to go with my heart because that's going to take me where I need to go. I'm not going to presume there's going to be a repeat. I'm not going to presume there's going to be a battle. I'm going to actually presume I can bring in my dream. And this is saying you can. So I think you've got a good sense of that, a good taste of that. So what will become clear as this progresses further for you? Six of Pentacles reversed, Eight of Cups reversed, Three of Swords. Okay, all right. Over time, you're going to start to understand why all this happens. So I'm going to jump to this as if it's a romance first, and so I'll do it almost in the opposite order, because the first thing I would say here is that you're going to really start to see that was clinging to the old patterns that caused the pain. As I say, you had the power to shift that energy. There was some pattern. So this is worth thinking about, going into your intuition. What's the pattern? A classic pattern I've seen with people when I've read for them is that they focus a lot when they first meet someone they're interested in, how many signs that person's interested in them, rather than thinking about how interested am I in this person. So just unconsciously, you give the power to the other person just by doing that. So it might be as simple as that. Because you are very powerful, if you actually reflect that power to the other person, they have an enormous capacity to hurt you if they don't go in the direction that you want them to. So you'll really start to see how that pattern was the thing that was causing the pain. You'll also start to realise that all of this, all the patterns were you weren't finding your equal before. You were meant to find your equal. And again, equal in value here, if you think about Pentacles as value. So this is what I'm saying. It's like, rather than just thinking about, does this person like me? Are they validating me? It's more like, are they worthy of me? That's what you should be asking. Are these people worthy of me? Are they my equal? Are they my peer? And it's the same thing around anything else. If you've been struggling with the powers of the world, it's been competition and maybe a bit of a stacked system, like an industry that was difficult or whatever. But holding on to the unhappiness about that was the only thing that was stopping you find your peers. So once you actually release that and you follow your intuition, you're no longer fighting within yourself a pattern of looking for validation, approval, support. You have the confidence within yourself and you're moving forward, and then you really shift mountains really, really strongly. So I wanted to get you some mythical support for your question. I'm going to use a couple of decks. So firstly, I have the Greek mythos deck. So this is some mythical characters from Greek mythology. So these two decks that I'm using, I'm just looking for any other messages or signs or energy that tells us a little bit more about how to best use this. So if they come up like a challenge, then that's part of the challenge to let go of. It's part of the Hydra. If they come up as a positive thing, it's one of the things in your kit bag intuitively. So firstly, we get the Phoenix. Well, that's about as positive as you can get. You are not going to, you're burning it all out, actually. That's what the Phoenix does. Burning out all the old patterns, burning out all of it. If you think about it, if you keep chopping the head off a Hydra and it keeps growing back, that's not the way to get rid of the Hydra. Burn it all out, and it can't do that. You rise as a Phoenix from the ashes. So this is definitely saying things are getting better. And the Phoenix is there. And it's very much this wand's energy, this fire, creativity, passion in some way. And Odysseus, yeah, you're ready to go on a bit of an adventure. You're ready to be the person who goes on the adventure. So, and Odysseus, using your intuition as your navigation. It's probably why I kept feeling like navigation around this. You know that you can always arise from anything. You know you don't have to be stuck in these old patterns, and you're moving on. And it's interesting. Odysseus here is shown in the sea. So it's emotion, it's water, washing it away, burning it out. The thing that was a problem was earth. It feels like the material side of this in some way was the thing that was weighing you down. So things like water to wash away energy and allow you to explore, fire to burn out anything that isn't working. So these are energies that are operating with you. Then if we get from the Mythical Creatures deck, a couple of other mythical creatures and their messages to you. Firstly, the Kraken, anticipation. When you think about life, remember, no amount of guilt can solve the past and no amount of anxiety can change the future. Yeah, this is, I think I'm putting that there. It's like that you might have actually feared a little bit the amount of emotion around this. That might have been why you tended to just go for what was grounded. Actually, I'm getting that that's the case for some of you, whether it's in love or in something else. It's like, show me the facts, show me the evidence. I'm not going to believe till that's the case. For some of you, in fact, you are very, very psychic, but you don't tend to believe it unless you see the earthy evidence. And this is inviting you to realize that the very issues you've dealt with, the very monsters that you've dealt with have come about because of that ability. Like the evidence is there. Evidence comes in many forms. So the Kraken is asking you to anticipate a journey and to know that you don't have to be sitting in the negative pattern of this. That's the thing to let go of. And we also get Medusa, adversity. Sometimes you have to forget what's gone, appreciate what still remains, and look forward to what's coming next. Yeah, so this is saying it's all about breaking old patterns. This is the sign that you're ready to do that. Medusa is a very interesting character too in Greek mythology because, of course, she did have the serpent hair. She did turn people to stone if they looked directly at her, but she's also a symbol of great protection in Greek, even in Greek culture today. So I think she brings a protection for you, and it's all just understanding this Hydra energy. It's like it's all understanding that if you anticipate adversity, it'll happen. If you anticipate that you can rise Phoenix-like and adventure beyond it and use your intuition, it won't happen because you are powerful on that level. That's what this is trying to tell you. This is a sign you needed. So let's get you a couple of other synchronistic signs going back to this deck. So these are things that you may see or think about. Just pay attention to if something like this comes up in your life because it could be a sign that you're heading in the right direction. This is what you're following this message and this sign. Infinity. Oh wow, it kind of fits with Odysseus. Like infinity is the sense that everything is open wide now. And again, it's almost the opposite of Earth. It's really interesting. You may have Earth very strongly in your chart and you need to actually start to think about the planets that are in fire or water, for instance, and even air, because infinity is sort of air and she's pointing up to the air. But like expansion. Also, I'm feeling whatever Jupiter might be doing in your chart. Watch for the transits of Jupiter because that's about expansion. This is about expanding your your reach in some way, expanding your options, expanding your self-belief. But you may see the infinity symbol, you may think about infinity, any of those sort of things. Pay attention to what's going on at that time if that comes into your field of vision or into your thoughts. And feathers. Okay, so if you see feathers, if you find feathers, people do sometimes when they're walking along the street or whatever, that's a sign. It's definitely a sign. It's interesting too because that's light as air as well too. The hope floating idea and all that kind of thing. There's something there. But yeah, if you see feathers, winged creatures, anything like that, again, pay attention to that. These are just meant to be synchronistic signs to let you know that you're on the right path and that you're following the bigger sign. So let's also get you some fortune energy. So I thought I'd use the Lenormand deck. That is the sister to the tarot deck I've used. So we're just going to get a couple of other cards from Lenormand, which is showing some of the fortune that this message is about. Again, it could be some of the challenge energy to be aware of, or it could be some of the answer to what to do. So firstly, we have man. Okay, there is a person associated with this. Now, if you are a man or identify with being a man, this could be just you, and it could just significate how important your energy is in this. But it's also saying potentially there is a man who is involved in this in some way. Could be a love partner, could be a collaborator, could be a friend, could be a family member. There's another person who's important in this. Now, whether or not they're the most recent example of what didn't work and you've got to kind of move away from it, or whether it's what the promise coming in, you'll probably have a better idea. And the other fortune energy is tree. Oh, wow, everything's getting better. The tree is effectively a great gift, a great blossoming energy. Everything is getting better. It is a true blessing. So again, you can grow. Actually, that's interesting too, because if you think about it, the tree grows in the earth, but it grows into the air. There's something about the air here. It's something actually about every element except for earth. It's like you've erred too much to earth, and because you're very psychic and you're kind of magical, you've created things without even being aware of it. If you get a lighter, a more positive way of looking at things, you'll draw in the right people or break patterns and so forth, and everything blooms. This is a very, very positive message for you. If you've been waiting for the sign that things are going to get better and old patterns are going to break, it's absolutely telling you yes, that they will. And you just need to understand how much that's in your hands because you're powerful to do it yourself. Okay, so let's get you some stars as well to guide your way. Earth. Okay, so understanding Earth. I think it's something about understanding Earth. I don't think it necessarily means you throw Earth out. I mean, you can't really. We've got to have all the things. But Earth is important to this in some way. I hope that makes sense to people. It's some of you, it may be something that you care about the Earth. And you've got caught up in patterns that were destructive to the Earth, not because you're fighting that and it kept ending up in this sort of like endless sort of pattern around it. And there are different ways of doing this potentially. So it's possible, but otherwise the way that the earth element operates for you is important to understand, I think. 8th house. Yeah, this is your psychic ability. You are a magician. You are magical. Pluto is the planet, very transformative. Sign is Scorpio, goes very deep, very emotional kind of intensity. But yeah, that's a sign that of your psychic ability. And the 10th house, Capricorn. I think for many of you, this is meant to have some sort of earthly outcome. This is what this is saying. But it's through the realm of the psychic and the spiritual that you get there. So whether it's, like you meet someone in love and it's actually someone you also work with, or it has something to do with your kind of career ambitions in some way, or whether it is something earthly that this is talking about, but it's your psychic ability that's going to get you there. That's saying it over and over. So to close out with this message, pile 1, I'm just going to get a card from the Illuminated Path, and this is just to sort of see how this sign and this message for you is connecting to your path at the moment. Wow, soul family, tribe. This says, eternally there, they have your back, turn to your tribe. So this man energy might be a soul family member. Finding the great love of your life could connect you to your soul family, if that's what this is about. Or breaking the patterns of the past and understanding your own power could bring you to your soul family, which then would give you the support potentially to really bring about what your dreams are. But whatever is going on, this is connecting you to who you truly are, your ability, your magic, your soul family. And I think it's mending a broken heart in some way. You're a rising phoenix, like you're ready to actually start to use your own power. So I hope that that reading resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed it. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with white light. So white light is part of the message, and white light, sort of the angelic energy, high frequencies, high vibration, all of that sort of thing. So there's something about you expanding your consciousness at this point in time, higher vibration, whatever terminology you like to use, angelic, celestial connections, all of those things. What we have here also is a question that is connected to this sign or message, and then some extra information about it. Now, the question is probably the next thing that's worth looking at. This is from the constellation of Andromeda, and it says, how can you best trust and protect your heart? I'm not sure if you can read that. So this has something to do with something that's very important to your heart. It could be about love. It doesn't have to be about love. I mean, the heart governs pretty much all our emotional responses to everything. There is something very high order here. For some of you, it's kind of mystical, I think. There's sort of like two levels to the heart on that way. One is the love for soul family, soul twins, romantic partners, all, like our actual family, all that kind of thing. And then on another level, there's the love of the divine. So there's something there, I think, for some of you around this. But the interesting thing is that's very much intuitive, high vibrational. This is very much of the emotion. But the way to actually get to this answer, to find the white light, to get the illumination, to find the sign, and I think this sign is a process for you, is by being very present, like very mindful. Mindfulness is very important, and to think it through. So one of the things that can happen is if your spirituality is just kind of like, I'm just high vibrational and I'm just going to listen to my heart, you sometimes shut down your mind. I've actually had debates with people spiritually about this who go, oh, the mind, you're too much in your mind. But the reality is the mind is one of our aspects, and it's one of our spiritual aspects as much as the heart, like the emotions or any of the other elements are. So, and this is saying there's a kind of a connection to your heart and to your higher order, but the best way to bring that through, and I think get the illumination, is to be very clear about it and very mindful. Because the present, they say the present can literally be a gift in the way that we think of the word present as also being a gift. There's something about being very present, very mindful, and this is the Queen of Swords. So there is very much a sense of your mind, clarity of your mind, and you have a very strong mind. And it's not antithetical to your heart and your spirituality. It's like bringing it all out and seeing it very consciously. For some of you, this might have been a sign that was unconscious because this is all about bringing it to the conscious level. For others, you may have a message here, and you might already know this, and this is about you working out how right now you can articulate that for others. So it depends, and we'll see with tarot a little bit more about it. But it is saying time to clarify and seek within. So your connection here is important, but it is mindfulness. I mean, I think that's the best way of describing what this advice or this sign is about. And there's something that you're going to choose or decide to do or not, and it could go either way. But you've got to get that in balance to work it out, I think. You've got to look at what is your internal heart, soul saying, but equally, what can really be done in the present? Like what is realistic as well. There's a balancing of the sort of spiritual and the pragmatic operating here for you. So let's see with tarot a little bit more information. So we're going to look at a bit more about what the sign or message is saying to you. Then we're going to look at what you could be very clear about or see now. And then we're going to see what could emerge over time. So firstly, just a little bit more to give us an idea about what is it that you're being asked to be mindful about that somehow connects to your sort of spirituality in your heart. 10 of Wands reversed, 6 of Wands, King of Cups reversed, 10 of Cups reversed. Okay, the Star. All right, so whatever this is, your heart, either you've actually suppressed a bit or it's gone through something. And so It's how do you deal with that? In fact, it's saying that for some of you, in fact, you've gone on one of these axes, and it's sort of like how you merge these axes. So where there's some healing needed around love, relationships, family, whatever this is, some of you will have gone, I'm going to just spiritually commune with my heart, but you're not thinking it through. Others of you go straight to what's happening right now. I'm mindful, I'm thinking it through, but you're not connecting to your heart. I think this is a crossroads. I think now I'm getting the sense that this is a message about a crossroads of the two. That's why you have to kind of like think about both. And it's saying that you need to release a burden. And I think either way helps release the burden. So if you decided, if you're all in the spiritual side of it, but you're not thinking through what this means in the present, it's like you're carrying all the day-to-day impacts of that, and you're not working out a strategy to relieve that. If you're only being present in the moment, but you're not listening to your heart, you're carrying a burden that you're not actually acknowledging. So meeting in the center of that is what will work. That's what brings victory. That's what puts you back on course. So I think this is saying there's something where either your spiritual approach is knocking up against your intellectual approach, or your intellectual approach is denying your spiritual approach, bringing the two together. And it's something that was emotional. And this is all about protecting your heart. That's why that question is there. It's something emotional that needs healing. And it could be quite long term. For some of you, it could be even like ancestral that we're talking about. And you are actually the perfect person to clear that ancestral stuff and to get things back on course, because you can be present and mindful and you have the spiritual energy. So it's going to depend. But this is about reducing a burden by getting these things in balance and having victory. So what will you have very clear right now about this? What's really clear to you about this message? 10 of Pentacles. Oh, the blank card. That's a weird card to have what's clear, but I'll have a talk to you about that. The Lovers reversed. 7 of Swords. Okay. So this depends upon what this energy is. There's a few ways of reading this. But what I will say first is maybe what I've been talking about, which is kind of like maybe family, maybe ancestral stuff, maybe just a kind of like capacity of meeting in the middle of those two approaches. You will be able to see how something very sustainable and long-term is supported by bringing this into balance. So the healing, you can see a long-term, really strong energy for it. You can also see that relationship decisions at the moment are out of balance, and there's maybe even some self-deception or other people are deceiving within it. And it's able to happen because only one of the two axes is being followed. So if you were in a situation with a bunch of people and they were very spiritual, but they weren't actually walking the talk, then this energy is showing up because they're only doing this. They're going, I'm high vibrational, and that's it, but they're not actually acting that way at all. Or people who are I'm very logical, don't talk to me about that sort of stuff. There's something where there's an imbalance and you know it, and it's affecting relationships. Something has yet to come. You don't have all the information yet. And that might be why we have being in the present and being mindful, because there's something else to come up. It might also be why we have white light, because the concept of white light is something of grace almost, something that comes forward, something that is bigger than us. And with the blank card, which is where you have the same on either side, something has yet to emerge. Something has yet to come to the surface. For some of you, if this is about a love relationship or a key relationship anyway, there is the possibility this could be long-term, but it needs a lot of healing. And you know that there's got to be either you've got to bring something up to the surface and get very real with yourself, or the other person has to. There's something yet that has to come to the surface to make this happen. If you're sitting in the middle of this, you know that, but it hasn't emerged yet. And if it's something ancestral around all of this, there's patterns that have been going on through generations probably that have to be healed at a very deep level. But it is possible. So it's definitely saying this is possible and that you are somehow very key to it, because I think you have the capacity. Even if you sit on one or other of the axis here, you have the capacity to meet in the middle. So what will become more obvious to you as time goes on? 9 of Swords reversed. Page of Swords reversed. 5 of Swords, all about the mind. Okay. So this depends on where you sit, and it'll depend upon who's coming to the reading. Whatever happens, getting these things in balance and bringing things to the surface that need to be brought to the surface, into the present, into an understanding, is going to relieve more than you thought. There's a lot of healing that can come from this. But you're also going to find there's a lot of sort of double speak or not walking the talk or deception operating here. It doesn't necessarily mean somebody's being deliberately deceptive, but they may not be very self-aware. You may also be challenged to think about, when your spiritual energy and your intellectual energy are at odds, so that you can actually clarify what you mean a bit more, that's going to be necessary. And for some in this situation, you may have to move away from certain people or certain patterns. That if you can't get to that point where everybody is prepared to balance these things and be open about it, then sometimes it's just not worth the battle anymore. So it really depends on what the situation is. But this mindfulness thing, I think, is really important to relieving the anxiety. Like anxiety, and I'm speaking as someone who, as I often joke, if worrying was an Olympic sport, I'd win gold for my country every single time. So I live very much in the future, and it probably has to do with why I do readings like this. The problem with that is it is a kind of anxious state to live in. Because particularly if you have a good imagination, and I think you would with this sort of combination, you can imagine all sorts of things happening. You can catastrophize really easily. So I think this is saying that you're going to realise, you may even realise your own intellectual tricks where you make yourself give up too early or make yourself think there's a battle when the battle isn't necessary. But whatever happens, it's going to relieve anxiety for you as you move forward. So let's get you some mythical support. There's a couple of decks I want to use, and what I'm looking for here, firstly with the Greek mythology and then with a broader, all kinds of mythical creatures. Just anything else around this message. So it could be more about the challenge in the message. It could be more about the benefits or the process or the way to get this into balance. So we'll just see what we get. So firstly, from the Greek mythological pantheon, Apollo. Okay, Apollo is very, very creative. Very creative. So there's a creative energy in this. I suspect he's coming up because your mind and being in the present moment can bring something into form, but it is important to connect your heart and your inspiration. So this is why it's really important for both. And if there is something that you're trying to heal, I think he brings inspiration and light to the energy. Also, there's a kind of idolatry with Apollo too, by the way. So you may actually find that one of the things you have to balance as you get this into balance is people idolizing you a bit. Just an interesting additional aspect. Then we also have, particularly since Aphrodite. Okay. Something very beautiful about this balance for you and about what you can do and what you can communicate to others. But I think that this is showing that there's something about this energy and something about the patterns that you're trying to deal with and heal that come from a fact that you are very attractive to other people in one form or another. Might be why you have to be very present, very clear, because a lot of people are drawn to you sort of spiritually and so forth. So this is maybe an evolution for you to become clearer and clearer about what your message is. Okay, and then when we look at other mythical creatures for any other information about it, angel, unity. Each of us are angels with only one wing, and we can fly by embracing one another. So certainly if any of this is around finding, love, then that's a pretty strong idea that it's going to work out if you're healing from that. But I think there is something angelic about you. That's why we got the white light as well. This is probably a bit of a sign that there's a kind of angelic energy about you, and also that you're connected to the celestial realms, but you still need to bring it into the present, into your mind in some way. And unicorn, dreaming, go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you have imagined. Yeah, you can bring things into being. The gift is there. And you're very pure of heart. Unicorn is about being pure of heart. So that, and that's good. Like you are likely to walk your talk. Or if you find as you sort of bring things to your mind that there's a dissonance, you're the sort of person who will actually sort that out and try and be very, very true to your vision. I think that's why people find you very inspiring. And there's a sort of angelic energy about you. So that's exciting. So let's also get you some other signs. I said that we'd return to this deck. to get some other synchronistic signs. So this is some other things to watch out for. It's like if you see them or think about them or read poetry with, this concept in it or whatever it might be, pay attention to what you're thinking about or doing at the time, because it's all connected to you getting this balance right, I think. So firstly, that's interesting. That came up for one of the others, infinity. Expansion, infinity. So the infinity symbol, concepts of infinity, concepts of where we fit in the greater glory of all of those sort of things are a sign for you that you're on the right track. And it's interesting again too, like I get that sort of sense with bringing infinity into your conscious mind, into the present. It's a bit like that. I think it's Blake who had that thing about, see eternity in an hour and see the world in a grain of sand or something like that. I think it was William Blake. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong and you know the poem I'm talking about. Okay, and we get communication. This is why there's a connection, unity, all that sort of thing. A lot of this energy is going to come up through talking to others, bringing things up to the surface and finding where communication is operating well and where it isn't. I also think you're probably highly telepathic. So pay attention to what seems to be thoughts that are coming from someone else or a sense of someone else, or when you can finish somebody else's sentences or you know what they're going to say, that kind of thing. Pay attention to that. That's important. We're also going to get you a little bit of fortune energy with Lenormand. I thought I'd use the sister deck to the tarot deck we've used. So again, these could be part of the challenge or they could be part of the blessing that's associated with this message. So we get Tower. Now, Tower in this is something solid. It's not the Tower of Tarot. So it's something very solid is meant to come up. And I think, again, it's sort of like an axis that brings all of those things together is more solid than one just on its own. Just on its own, it's not going to hold together. It's like it holds it together for you. This is meant to bring in something very long-standing. This is why we have the Ten of Pentacles, dealing with a Ten of Cups reversed, bringing in something that's healthier and more stable over time. And lilies, and there's a healing energy around it that brings stability in. So you have a healing aspect to this, but I don't think it's like your classic doing healing as a job. I mean, it could be with King of Cups reversed, but I think it's like a healing that has to do with bringing balance. So if you are, in fact, doing anything around sort of the more traditional healing sort of arts, it could be about bringing the body into balance or something like that. But I think for most, you're healing something to create a new, stronger edifice in a love relationship, in family dynamics, in a career thing, in a social cause, whatever it might be. Okay, so let's get some stars to guide you as well. Third house, communication. I'm going to put that over there. There's definitely, you're meant to communicate what comes out with this. This is why it's very much bringing it into the present. The Queen of Swords is a Gemini card, and this is about Gemini and Mercury. So you are meant to communicate something here. It's not something that you just hold within. Second house, it's going to have something to do with creating the life you like and want and your values and all that sort of thing. Again, why you would need to articulate it. And full moon, the harvest, reap what you have sown. So there's meant to be something that comes out of this fairly soon that's good. So it clears the energy, particularly once you've managed that balance. I think that's when you get the harvest of this message. And I think this blessing. So to finish off, I'm just going to pull a card from the illuminated path of the illuminated soul, so that we see where this particular sign and message fits with your overall path right now. Wow. Messages. Yeah, it's all about communication, messages, psychic things, bringing things into your mind, the numbers. This says, do you see the numbers? The universe is talking. What does it say? So the universe is talking to you, but this is like why you need to bring it into the mind and into the present moment. Pay attention, see 1111, 3333, all those sort of things. Pay attention to that because the universe is talking to you. Okay, pile 2, I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with seedlings. And what we have here is some other information about it, plus a question that's key to this particular sign. And what I would say, first of all, is that if the sign you've been waiting for consciously, or if this resonates now and it's unconscious, is about creating and manifesting something. It's a very big tick and a yes, and this is a sign that you are getting your ducks in a row for doing this. But the question that it's asking about is kind of the emotional underpinning to it. So let me explain. Firstly, with seedlings, to me, that that definitely suggests things that are meant to grow. And then we have two cards here that are in this deck. Two of the core cards. It's actually the Page of Pentacles and the King of Pentacles. So this is saying, like, on an earthy level, and we've got seedlings planted in the earth, you are meant to create something. And I think something may take years to do it. Like, it depends on what it is. It doesn't have to be, or it could be something that lasts for years, like is very long standing. But it's definitely that energy from having a very clear idea about what you would want your seedling to grow into leads to a very stable, abundant outcome. So this is a promise of manifestation, I think, and that you maybe are at early stages, but it's just starting to sprout. It's just starting to happen. And if you weren't conscious of this, think there's something in your life where you've actually planted some seeds. Maybe you weren't even thinking about it, but when you're thinking about anything that is material to you in some way, and this could be career, vocation, money, a house that you would want to live in. It could also be a relationship that you want to be committed to. Any of those things, you're in a stage that you're starting to move towards greater and greater commitment and greater clarity about what you want this to grow into being. So, and it could be you. It could be the seedling of what you want it to be, and now you're really starting to hit your stride. But this is a card to help focus this message and sign. And so it's a question, and this is from the constellation Lyra. And the question is, what if you could be the love you never received? So I would think one of two things about this. This is either a sign about you almost parenting yourself by creating something, a great love, a great home, a great career. Or it could be that you are finally at a point where if you didn't have the love or approval of family or of lovers before or something like that, you're ready to create for yourself. And that, could then in turn bring love. But it's like you are taking on that capacity to do that yourself and to ground it rather than relying on other people. But I feel like for some of you, there's sort of like a underlying drumbeat to this with that question, which is that maybe you haven't received the love you should have. Or haven't been able to follow your passion before, but this is saying now you can. The stars are aligning, pile 3, and it's to bring in something lasting. So if what you're looking for is love in some way, this is you're planting the seeds. You've already done the work that you needed to do. You've got a clear idea of what it would look like, and you can actually bring it in. If you've met someone and you're wondering, could this grow into a committed relationship? Yes, it could. Yes. Right now, you're still in the, how's it going to go? Is this what I want? And this could be partly this too. It's sort of like make sure that this is a pattern where you've created the love connection. It's not compensatory for a lack of one, because you don't want to make that long term if it's still not bringing the love or the connection. And if it's around you weren't necessarily believed in something that you wanted to do in your vocation or creatively or whatever, you can now do it for yourself. So it's a very positive message, but it seems to come out of a bit of sadness. So let's get a little bit more detail on it. Let's see more about what this sign and message is. Then we're going to look at what you could be clear about right now, and then we're going to see what will become clearer to you over time. So a little bit more to tell us what this new seedling that is going to grow and is going to manifest to something very stable and very abundant. So it has that promise. What's this all about? Two of Wands reversed, the High Priestess, Eight of Cups reversed, the Seven of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles reversed. Okay, so it's very interesting that this is bookended by two twos that are reversed. And then right in the center we have the Eight of Cups reversed. I think this is the Lyra issue here. This is saying that there were emotional patterns that were stopping you deciding your direction and making material choices. And what this is saying is that now you've started to understand with the High Priestess, you've started to understand your own internal ability, your own internal power, and you can grow. But this is the thing you need to let go of, because you haven't entirely done that. This is maybe why it was saying maybe here, And it's not, I think it is going to work out. I think even coming to this reading and having that sort of understanding will do it. But it's like something is in its early stages that is very true to your soul and has huge growth potential. I mean, like it is meant to sort of really, really manifest. May take a bit of time though. It said that, the Seven of Pentacles. Pentacles are a bit slow, but they're steady. But there is something here where you need to release old emotional patterns because they stand in the way of you making decisions. This is your seedling. This is your new idea. This is your new relationship, whatever it is, whatever didn't give you approval or validation before, you've got to let that go because then it's not important to this. You have everything you need and you can move forward. And as I say, if it's a love relationship, you'll bring the right love relationship in. But this may be just you striking out on your own and doing something like career-wise or creatively. It's all there, but there's some sadness that is still needs to be let go of. So let's have a look at what is sort of clear to you now about this message. Five of Pentacles reversed. Death card, Eight of Swords reversed, Four of Wands. Okay, I think you get this. I think you know. I think you know that there's something here that is very special. Special relationship, special thing you're creating, whatever it is. You know the potential is this, so that's good. You also know that you have a choice about the type of connections. You do need to be connected to others for this. It's not just something that you're meant to do on your own. Like literally if it's something career-wise, there's seed funding or whatever that could come from others. But your choice, and you do have the choice, is whether you have the connection that's going to build for you without, or it's a choice actually, it's not really a choice between these two. This is the choice you need to take. You need to take a choice towards connections, love, support, financially, whatever it might be, that are not intellectually imprisoning and that lead to a happy outcome. So this is like there's a pattern. So there's a pattern. Eight of Cups reversed, Eight of Swords reversed. This is an emotional or mental thing that you're meant to release yourself from. If you did not have a happy family, if you did not have or a happy relationship recently or whatever, you can release that and bring that in. That's part of what you can create here. But you've got to make the choice to do it. And you can see that. You can see that there's great potential here and you can connect to the right people. You do. It's like it's not doomed to fail. Like I think what could be going on is that if you have not received love validation before, you may feel, if I need the support of others or if I'm looking at this relationship or whatever, is it just going to go the way that it went before? Am I never going to be loved? Am I never going to be validated? The answer is no. You do need other people, but you can make the decision to bring in the right ones. This is absolutely ready to flower. Absolutely ready to flower. So what will you learn or see as time goes on in relation to this sign? Eight of Pentacles reversed, Queen of Wands reversed, Five of Wands. Okay, all right. So whatever meant you didn't get the love you should have got, whether it's in your home, whether it's around friends, whether it's around lovers before, all had to do with people being threatened by you. Sorry, but it's true. And you're going to really start to see this. You can do this. You could be a master of manifestation. You could be a master of whatever you're doing. The Eight of Pentacles reversed. You don't need to keep learning something. Your skills are fine. You're ready to move to that next level. So that's there. But the way that the battle came was to make you feel lesser than. So if you start to understand you don't need this, you won't feel lesser than. I also think you're going to start to realize that you might have undermined your own sense around what you could create here. And you might have constantly thought, I need to learn more, I need to develop more, I don't have the skills yet, I'm not ready. And it makes it an internal battle. But this is saying you're ready. You're ready. This is a fantastic idea. This is a fantastic relationship. If this is about a relationship, then the battle is more internal, about raising your self-esteem. You're ready for this. You've learned enough from other things not to repeat any of the sort of things that didn't work out before. So it's a very, very positive message for you, Pile 3. So let's get you some mythical support. I mean, it's a pretty supportive message overall, but I'm using two mythical decks. One is a Greek mythos and the other is just mythical creatures in general. And what I'm looking for here is some more information about this sign or message. So it may be a bit about the challenge. It may be more about the blessings. So we'll just see what we get. So firstly, we have Helios. Okay, so Helios is the god of the sun, basically, or kind of brought the sun around each sort of day. So there's a great deal of light. I mean, if you think about it, light and the seedlings growing and creative energy, it's beautiful. There's light. You're throwing light on this and light on your ability. But it's also the sign of cycles. And that's interesting too, because if you think about when you plant something, it goes through a cycle. It's planted as a seedling, it grows, and then it comes into fruition. This is probably suggesting that whatever this is, it goes through cycles as well. So if it was a love relationship, it gets to one particular level, then it starts a cycle to go to the next level and so forth. If it's a creative project, you may bring it to fruition and then you may seed something else. But it's very positive energy around getting in time with things, being in time with the cycles. And Iris, it's incredibly beautiful and incredibly inspirational. So if you're drawing in love, it's a very beautiful love and it's just at the right time. If it's about something that you're creating, it's incredibly beautiful. It probably has a connection to communication in some way. You're communicating an idea, a creative vision, something like that. Very inspiring for other people. This is why it's going to grow. It's going to be kind of almost impossible not to be responded to positively. So a couple of mythical creatures, again, that could either show a bit about a challenge or more about the blessing. The basilisk, clarity, the space between your thoughts is a window to the cosmic mind. So thinking about this and understanding this is important. This is what draws in the cosmos, draws in the cycles to work for you. And it gives you clarity, like having the clarity of understanding that you are worthy of the love, you are worthy of the success, all of those sort of things. You can start a whole new cycle for yourself. And the Nemean lion, gratitude, be grateful for whoever comes because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. I find the Nemean lion is actually a monster who was almost unstoppable because of golden fur, like literally made of gold. I think when this card comes up, it shows there's a very powerful spirit guide around you. So it's a very powerful protector around you. So if you, as I say, have felt, it's almost as though if you felt as a child or something like that, you weren't loved, there was an incredibly powerful spirit guide around you. You were always loved, pile 3. You've always been loved and you always will be. And it will, if this is about love, it will manifest in a very long-term love relationship. But beyond all of that, if this is creativity, you are loved by a very powerful energy and it brings you clarity and it wants to bring you inspiration and it wants to see the cycles working for you. I feel a bit emotional saying that. I feel like I feel the love coming through from the guide. So that's beautiful. So let's get you a couple of other signs that this is coming through. So we have the seedling. So we're going back to this deck. So these could be synchronicities. So if you see pictures like this, read poems or hear lyrics with these sort of concepts, just have these things randomly coming into your mind. They're all signs that you're moving in the right direction of this growth. Pile 3. So firstly, abundance. Actually, I'm going to put that over there because it said abundance. This is like you are going to succeed. You are. Like it's pretty clear you're meant to really expand and grow and have a reward of some sort and you deserve it. So, wow, just understanding that. The sign will be as the abundance starts to grow. I feel like this is sort of like, almost with each revolution of the sun, you're going to be seeing more and more. You're going to get more and more signs about how this is something that's long-term and it's going to be sustained. And, lovers. Okay, so if this is about love, it's a beautiful love relationship that's growing. And if it's about something else, your connections with others are going to be positive to help bring in abundance rather than being the negative before. Loving connections, not those that were bereft of that. And I think if you sort of dream about lovers, see lovers, walking hand in hand, hear love songs, all of that kind of thing, pay attention to what you were thinking or doing at the time because it's relevant. Okay, let's also get you some fortune energy with Lenormand with the sister deck to the tarot deck I used. So again, this could point to some of the challenge or it could point to some of the fortune. Rats, okay, this is part of the challenge. There were people eating away at you, eating away. And it's just understanding and letting that go because it's not relevant anymore. If you're aware of it, once you're aware of rats or mice, depending upon which Lenormand deck you're using, you can do something to get rid of them. So it's just saying, there are There are people who were eating away at your self-esteem, eating away at your happiness. Scythe, yeah, you can cut them out. So that's going to be necessary. Some of them are still around. Or if you see that starting to come up with jealousy or other people wanting to suddenly be your best friend when they haven't talked to you for ages because you're successful, well, then you know what to do. It's pretty clear you know what to do, pile 3. Okay, let's get you some stars to guide you. I'm really excited for you. I think this is fantastic. So stars to guide. Cardinal, this is you initiating things. Yeah, initiating the growth cycle. If you're in any doubt, don't be in any doubt. This is a very big sign to move forward and to initiate something. You don't have to tell the whole world about it till you're more certain, but you get on with it, basically, I think is what this is saying. 4th house, this is really key to who you are at home, and ultimately I think makes for a very stable home, a very happy home. Some of you, it might be about building a property portfolio, to be honest, which is fantastic. You're going to do really well if you're looking to do that. And 2nd house, yeah, it's definitely going to help you create the life you want. There's definitely abundance. You're going to create the home, the life that you want in all aspects around this. So, last but not least, I'm just going to get you a card from the Path of the Illuminated Soul to see how this sign message and sort of set of cycles and growth fits with your overall path. Divine gift, the mermaid's purse, an empty vessel, a gift from the sea, what treasures it holds. Like there's a gift associated with this. I think you deserve it. And your gifts are bringing as well too, something divine. But this is a blessing, a gift you're meant to have. It's going to grow to great abundance. It's a very beautiful thing and inspirational to others. But you do need to watch the hangers-on around this. If it's a love relationship, it's a divine gift relationship. So whatever it is, it's going to grow incredibly well. So I hope that resonates for you, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.